like to call to order it's November 3rd regular meeting of the Chagrin Falls Board of Education. Ms. Brudno, if you'd please call the roll.
Mr. Rankin.
Here.
Mrs. Garvey.
Here.
Mrs. Bendel. Here. Mrs. Bros.
Here.
Mrs. O'Toole.
Here.
Very much. Better. All right, if you would please all join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay, first thing we have is the approval of minutes. If I could have a motion for the approval of the October 6th and October 20th minutes.
So moved.
I could have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, Ms. Brudno, if you'd please call the roll.
Mr. Rankin.
Yes.
Mrs. Garvey.
Yes.
Mrs. Bendel.
Yes.
Mrs. Bros.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Toole.
Yes.
All right, moving right along. Board reports. First, if we could have Ms. O'Toole for the Audit Committee and Board Policy Committee.
I have no report for the audit committee. For policy committee, we met on Thursday, October 21st. We reviewed the changes suggested by our policy consultants at OSBA. The policies that the committee is recommending updates to are on tonight's agenda for a first reading. Many of the updates relate to either House Bill 110 or House Bill 244, which our state legislature passed this summer. They're usually just pretty minor tweaks. You all had the red and green line changes, so when we get to that on the agenda, if you have any questions, we can go through them. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on, Business Advisory Committee, Capital Planning, and Board Finance and Budget. Ms. Garvey.
There's no report tonight for the Business Advisory Committee. The Board Capital Planning Committee has a meeting scheduled that's tentatively scheduled for November 30th. And we'll be reviewing a draft of the annual update to the facility improvement plan before it comes to the board for approval. And with regard to the Board Finance and Budget Committee, we're meeting next Thursday at 6 o'clock in the PAC lobby. And we'll be reviewing the 5-year forecast update as presented by the treasurer before that comes to the board for approval. That concludes my report.
One thing to add on the board finance, that may be moved to Sands. I will update everybody, and if it is, the public notification will go out of the change in location.
All right, thank you very much. And for records retention, we have sadly no report. I know you're waiting on it. All right, moving on to the top agenda for the evening. We have the superintendent's report. I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Penzarski.
So very excited tonight. We get to do our student recognition. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Quinn to come up and give the presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Penzarski. Welcome, everyone. I'm Becky Quinn. I'm the Director of Curriculum and the Gifted Coordinator in the district, and I'm thrilled to be here this evening. I'm so thankful that we're able to recognize several groups of truly amazing students this evening. It's both an honor and a privilege to have all of these students within our district and to have seen so many of them grow and flourish throughout the years. I can't believe some of them are as old as they are now. It's amazing. As you hear about our students that we're recognizing this evening, you'll truly see how they've pushed themselves, acted courageously in a multitude of ways to maximize their potential, realizing our district's mission. The first group of students that we will recognize this evening are students that participated in NUMATS, the Northwestern University Midwest Academic Talent Search. They participated in the 2021 school year. New Mats is an above grade level testing program that provides gifted students in grades 3 through 9 with the opportunity to take above grade level tests. Last school year, students in our district in grades 6 through 8 participated in the SAT. Why might a student participate in New Mats? Well, it gives you the opportunity to take an above grade level test that provides stretch that maybe a state test or a iReady test simply doesn't provide. It gives you the experience of taking a college entrance exam if you're taking the ACT or SAT, and it really pushes you. It truly takes courage as a 6th grader through 9th grader to join students on a Saturday or Sunday morning to test at a high school for 3 hours. It's an amazing experience for our students, and we're super proud of them for doing it. Due to the pandemic, our students only had the opportunity to take the SAT. So we would like to recognize the top scoring SAT students in each of these grade levels by having them come up to the front when their name is called. They'll come up here, and if our principals could come up to our tables now. Our lovely assistants that probably look very familiar. And they will help our students find their certificate at the table here. Wave Mr. Howell so they know where they're going, either to that table or to the middle table. And then they will stop at our swag table where Ms. Benko is standing. Wave Mrs. Benko. And then finally, they will go to the other side of Mrs. Benko and wait for a photo op. And we have our photographers here to take photos. All of the photos that are taken this evening will be available to all families. We're putting them together in a Google folder to share. So if you miss a photo op tonight, you will be able to get a photo. The first student I'd like to recognize is Claire Rubin. She was a 6th grader taking the SAT last year. Is Claire here? In 7th grade, Jacob K. All right, Jacob. And in 8th grade, Grace Masad. Is Grace with us today? I know it's a difficult time to get everyone in one group at the same time. We are extremely proud of all of the students that we're recognizing as top SAT scorers, but truly proud of all the students that have participated in New Mats. It's an incredible experience, and we're just proud of kids pushing themselves to take that challenge. Did we get a photo op? All right. And because many of our families are live streaming from home, we will celebrate all of them by a round of applause. The next group of students that we'd like to recognize this evening are students that successfully completed bridging programs in the district. What is bridging? Bridging is really the provision of content to students who have evidence readiness to move forward into more rigorous programs in math or in science. It allows students to access curriculum seamlessly without skipping over to move into a more advanced course. Those students need to access a compacted set of content to bridge to the next level. It truly requires a great deal of courage, work, commitment, and effort on the part of our students. So we're extremely proud of those students that successfully complete those bridging programs. The first group of students we'd like to recognize are students that successfully completed the math bridging program. The students reflected here, the 17 students on the screen, are in grades 5 through 8 this year, and they are successfully enrolled in advanced math courses this year because of their hard work and commitment throughout the summer. We're extremely proud of these students. When your name is called, if you could come up to the front. Mia Beavers. Zachary Blair. Audrey Bricker. Melanie Brosnan. Gavin Chan. Isabel Dioma. Reese De Leon. Hadley Hawk. Daria Kuzmenko. Connor Laval. Tessa Martin. Nathan Nelson. Gregory Perry. Sophia Pitts. Eloise Polte. John Rankin. And Ella Young. Huge round of congratulations to these students. It is such a tremendous amount of work that these students do. They have the support of Mr. Todd Toombs, one of our outstanding math teachers from the middle school throughout the summer, but so much of this work is on these students. So we're extremely proud of their efforts. And I'm so glad we have professional photographers taking pictures and not me. The link to the Google folder that will have all of these photos in it will be emailed out to all the email addresses that receive the Evite for this event. So even if you're a family watching from home, you will get an email. If you choose to get those photos, you're welcome to. But for all of us here, you might very well want to see those photos. All right, congratulations again. The next set of students that we would like to recognize is a big group, but a hardworking group. These students completed Bridging to Physical Science starting in spring of last year through the summer. These 48 students worked to complete the Bridging to Physical Science program, illustrating their readiness to complete physical science for high school credit as a middle school student this year in 8th grade. The big thanks to Ms. Emily Moore, one of our outstanding science teachers at the middle school. These students are truly to be commended for their hard work, perseverance, and their achievements. And now to have them come down. Aiden Ernie. William Allen. Alexa Upshago. Eva Austin. Joshua Barona. Ella Beatty. Dominic Bellini. Ian Benchot. Matthew Busby. Marie Kane. Kirsten Cheney. Henry Semperman. Wade Doherty. Patrick Davidson. Sophia De La Cruz. Brady Farah. Liam Gambrell. Emily Gosser, Haley Haddon, Jenna Hamden, Layla Hauserman, Elias Havas, Abigail Herman, Sebron Hilbers, Claire Hosel, Ethan Johnson, Katie Jones, Sophia Link, Duncan Lyle, Eveline Malley, Lucas Martin, Eric Newmanitis, Leslie Quinton, Rory Rhodey, Kaya Sherman, S. Snyder, Allison Stevenson, Isabella Thompson, Mackenzie Verteber, James Wagner, William Wagner, Jack Watson, Margaret Watson, Thomas Wilkinson, Harper Wyville, Natalie Zalud, Caleb Zelch, and Ari Zimmerman. Wow, that's a group. And I might add as an aside, this is a completely optional program for these students. It doesn't put them any further ahead in the science trajectory than any other students that typically would be in algebra or would be in geometry. In 8th grade would move on to biology. So these students will move on to biology in 9th grade as well that are in physical science. It's purely for the love of science and learning more and accessing high school content. So for these students, that's amazing that they just simply want to learn and they're ready for that learning. Those students might very well go into many of our AP science courses at the high school. So we're really excited for them to move up to the high school. Awesome. Congratulations to all of our students that completed bridging. We did try to mix up the swag this year. If some of you notice, there is a little wallet that goes on the back of a cell phone case. So that is the new offering for this year. Other years we've had water bottles and bags, but that's a new feature. So the swag table is really improving. The next group of students that we'd like to recognize tonight are the 2022 National Merit Scholarship Corporation Award winners. We're excited about these students. These students chose to take the PSAT in October of 2020 as 11th graders. The first group of students within this group are the students that were identified as National Merit Commended students. These students are amazing in their abilities and their willingness to take the PSAT and put themselves out there. If these 4 students could come forward. Sophia Avery, David Skosik, Calvin Struckmarn, and Trey Taylor. Only thing that truly makes me sad about these students is that they're seniors and they'll be graduating. But these are amazing, amazing students, and we're so proud of them. Congratulations to these students. The next group of students that we'd like to recognize also took the PSAT in October of 2020 as juniors. These students have been identified as National Merit Semifinalist Scholarship winners. They will find out in spring if they will proceed on to being a finalist, but we are incredibly proud of these students and their hard work and their achievement. When I call their names, if they can come forward, please. Robert Trey Brosnan. Matthew Daniels. Rose Hosel. Alexandra Holtz. Ann Mills. Azura Wren Opperman. Joshua Rooney. Hanson Song. And Jude Zimmerman. Again, these students are also seniors, and it makes me sad that they're leaving us, but I'm excited, so excited for their futures. Congratulations to these students. The last group of students we'd like to recognize this evening participated in the National Speech and Debate program, and they have received an award. They are currently seniors within the high school. They have been recognized not only for their excellence within this extracurricular program, but also for their outstanding academic achievement and overall success as a well-rounded and hardworking student. So when I call these students' names, if they could come forward, and some of these students are getting awfully tired. Sophia Avery, if you could come forward. Alexandra Holtz. And Carter Kilby. These students have earned the degree of superior distinction, completed at least 5 semesters of high school, and demonstrated outstanding character and leadership, as well as earning a GPA of 3.7 on a 4-point scale or higher. These students are just amazingly talented students. Congratulations to these students. And finally, while we commend all of the students that were recognized this evening, we also truly want to thank our families for supporting these students in their courageous endeavors and to truly maximize their potential. So thank you to you as well. And thank you for coming this evening. We do have an upcoming presentation on our district goals, but in previous board meetings, we have provided the opportunity for families to excuse themselves before we proceed on to the next presentation. You are more than welcome to stay, but I also had heard from a few families, they had other commitments to follow. So if you need to leave us, we understand, and thank you so much for your time this evening.
We're gone. No,
I know.
Sharon was just gonna try to say something. Aren't you gonna stay, John?
What I was gonna say, I can say for all of us, which is it's really cool knowing a lot of the seniors and the pathways that they've taken. Yeah, so it's really fun to see, knowing personally a lot of the seniors and the pathways they've taken. Really, they embraced the opportunity for personalized learning, and I know they work directly with a lot of their building principals and the administrative team, but so many of them have taken classes and pursued their own interests in a way that really wasn't available in this district 10 years ago when they were in elementary school. And so it's really cool to see that mission being exemplified. You did. It's because you didn't get to trick or treat this year, I know.
So
So the next thing on the agenda would be the district goal presentation. And so we've added Jen Benko to the party as well.
So we're here to share the district goals for the 2021-22 school year. As you learn about these goals and review our planned action steps, you will see that they truly work to maximize potential of all students and really personalize educational experiences for all students. This first goal, we kind of foreshadowed at the last board meeting when we did the district report card overview, in that it is our district academic goal. It's very similar to previous years, kind of encompassing all of the grade levels that are tested across the district on state testing, with the goal of having the highest rating in the achievement area. If you remember from our last presentation, the state is transitioning from a letter grade system to a star system. So in place of an A, we would be shooting for 5 stars. So this is kind of our district data goal for this school year. And then we have 3 additional goals that are our district goals. The first goal, very similar to previous years and every year, that we always have a curricular review and refinement goal that showcases the different content areas that are up for review. For this current school year, we are right in the middle of review of K-12 art, K-12 music, K-12 PE and health. We are also in mid-review of several specific courses that were not up for review with the rest of the content areas. So that would include AP World History, AP US Government, French 4, and AP French. We are kind of immersed right now in the needs assessment process, and we're continuing on through our work. Additionally, we're continuing work from previous years in which we adopted programs. So for K-12 ELA, K-12 world languages last year, K-12 social studies, that work entails working on curriculum mapping this year. That work will then move into assessment development to follow.
Becky, one thing about the first goal,
Yep.
I would love to see us come up with a process to incorporate student feedback and potentially parent feedback, but especially student feedback. As the students are in high school, I hear they have brilliant insights about courses and what they would want more of or what they might change about them. And I don't think historically we have incorporated them into that process. So I urge you to consider leveraging them in that way.
The only way that I could think that we have done that previously, and we actually discussed it during PD Day yesterday in both arts and our PE health group, was talking about proposal of new courses. And typically we will do student surveys to see if there's even interest in creating a new offering to kind of justify why we would propose a new course. So that did come up during the PD Day yesterday, but that would be something that I'm sure Monica would be interested in kind of putting together too, whether it's a committee of students. But yeah, absolutely.
Even just small focus groups, you know,
Mhm.
like I think they have a lot of insight that could be helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Goal 2 revolves around assessment literacy. So it's really the idea of our district team refining our approach to assessment, really getting a better understanding of what an assessment can entail across K-12, across the varied content areas, really figuring out what the best implementation would be and how they connect with the new teacher evaluation system, which is OTES 2.0. That all needs to be ready and in place for the 21-22 school year. I'm sorry, for the 22-23 school year. So by the end of the school year, we have to kind of have those assessments in our process in place. So that work has already started this year and will continue. And I know Mr. Woofter and I are leading a group of teachers in that work.
Goal number 3 really focuses on the continued refinement and definition of our MTSS system of support. So if you remember, as we've talked before, if we conceptualize a triangle with core instruction, tier 1 instruction at the bottom, whether you're talking about academic instruction or social emotional and behavioral supports, we look to make sure that we have an aligned system of interventions that go from those interventions and supports that are provided to all students up through that triangle to the tip top, where we're looking at individualized, specialized supports and instructions for those few students who need that level of support. Again, we're trying to make sure that we're maximizing the potential of all students, matching interventions and supports to what they need in order for them to be successful. What we're hoping to do with this goal is really make sure that we are vertically aligned across our buildings, as well as making sure that we are all on the same page in terms of when an intervention is provided to a student, kind of what that criteria looks like, how students move from one tier to another tier, and really evaluating to make sure that our alignment is in place across each building.
I interpreted this work as you're really taking it down to an even more granular level, and just wanted to make, so that's right. Like,
Yeah.
it's like almost subject matter and
Yeah, really kind of looking, and if you just tease out, say, English language arts and looking at, okay, well, what are those criterion selection points that we're looking at to determine when a student would need intervention and when would they need something a little bit more intensive. And same thing even on the behavioral or social emotional side. How do we know when a student might need more targeted instruction or support? What does that look like in terms of data and being able to articulate that? Anything else?
Any other questions or comments? All of the goals, like goal number 1, goal number 2, those were clickable links. So if you wanted to learn more about the specific goals or the action steps that support those, you could find that information there.
I guess just one question I did have before we got off it. So you've laid out the goals well, but do you have like, what success looks like? Like what is, I mean, we know what the goal is, but then what's the criteria for, did you succeed? Like, on a grand scale or, halfway, you know what I'm saying?
So if you click into each of those goals and you look at the action steps, there is mid-year evidence that is identified. So we tried to be able to kind of gauge how would we know that we're on the way to those goals. And so that's what we'll use mid-year. Probably, I'm assuming we'll come back to you in January or February to kind of update the board relative to where we are with the goals. So you should see lots of that mid-year evidence present. And then at the end of the year, we'll have our final evidence to support that. I think that's what you're
Yeah,
asking for.
just you've like kind of narrated or like verbalized or captured, what does success look like, and of course, there are different degrees of success, right? Like, you could surpass what you expect, or you could miss what you expect, or you could hit it.
Right. Well, for the curriculum side of things, the action steps are pretty well defined and they're assigned to a timeline. So like with our gap analysis, that was, the documents were created, the committee was assembled, we've met twice, we've started to complete the documents, we're starting to identify needs, and even in some cases, starting to identify how we can kind of fill the gaps that have been identified. So I feel like we're very on track with all of the curricular goals. With our assessment literacy, we're just getting started with that process. But we will have to absolutely be finished with it by the end of the year. So we're ready for the new evaluation system for next school year. What that will look like, that one is a little bit more nebulous. Just because we're just learning about the expectations from the state.
And I think I downloaded the PDF for each goal with all of the in-depth action steps. So if you need a copy of that as well, I can resend those. So if, like she said, on any of this PowerPoint presentation, I know it's not in blue, but if you click where it says goal 3, it will take you to that sheet, to that document. And if additional copies or it needs to be formatted a different way, we can do that. And if I can add one piece, I know it's not on the agenda, but I think it's so exciting to have our entire administrative team here tonight. I want to tell you that when you hired me 5 months ago, you didn't tell me about this amazing team. And so I've had the privilege to get to work with them, to get to struggle with them a little bit today. But you have amazing leaders and you get the results you get because they're willing to choose courage to lead. And I'm so proud of them. And I don't think that they've ever been all together with us. So I just wanted to say thank you for their work and publicly acknowledge everything they're doing for our students. And if it's okay, maybe they could go as well if we're good with the goal.
Of course.
But this is so fun.
There's gonna be nobody left.
Okay.
I mean, I
No, no,
hope that
no.
you all know that the board fully supports the work that you do. We are so proud to represent the school district and the work that you do. And we hear accolades from parents and students all the time. And I just can't say enough about how much we appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
And the only other communication that I just like to put out to the boards and to the greater school community, I think a survey was sent out to see what was the interest in a vaccine clinic, because you posted those in the past. The date that was given is not going to work just because the guidance and pieces aren't in place. We're unsure about what we're able to do yet to provide for our community. So we have the input. We had more than 400 students interested and more than 100 staff in the booster. So we need to wait on guidance and we need to see how those will be rolled out to students and to staff before we'll be able to give you a date. But we know that November 12th date will not work now. So I just wanted to make sure that if you marked it on your calendar, that date has moved.
Has that been communicated out to parents?
They're going to,
Okay.
but I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew. And that's really all I have for real. So we can move on with the agenda.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have anybody slated for public participation?
I did not have anybody sign up ahead of time, but there was some confusion with the sign-in sheet versus the sign-in to speak sheet out front. So I have a lot of names, but I think these were people who only wanted to sign in. So we're gonna go with the old process and just, does anyone want to speak? Seeing none.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, seeing none, we will move on to wait for Ms. Rose to return. Now I know what it finally feels like to play to an empty house.
Be empowering sometimes.
Yeah. Anything else we need to go over that's not on the agenda?
I can give you an update. The Northeast Ohio School Board presidents met this morning. And one of the things we talked about was whether there are any changes to the masking policies at any of the districts as a result of the recent guidance from the Ohio Department of Education. And none of those districts have made any changes and don't intend to make any changes anytime in the near future. I think the soonest was maybe January reconsidering. So I know I've had parents say to me that all the other districts took action based on that, and why are we lagging behind? And that is not accurate. Most districts are staying the course with their existing mask policies.
And I can speak to that just a little bit. Just as we talked about your fantastic administrative team, you also had a task force that worked really hard to make sure kids were in school and that we were in the safest protocols possible. And so we even met at 4 o'clock tonight, still working on refinements and what things mean. There's a lot of complications within what was released that districts need to work out. And I think that's why you're seeing people take time to do it right and to implement it correctly. The biggest impact on us currently from that new guidance is if you were at lunch, you were considered pretty much a close contact based on you didn't have a mask and where you ate. Sometimes that would exclude you or quarantine you from school. And with the new language, we can allow them to wear a mask, which we're already doing. And as long as they're not symptomatic, they can stay. So that small group that we were having to possibly quarantine or exclude, or the health department was quarantining, then that group can stay. So that's a big improvement when it comes to contact tracing right now. The other piece that we really haven't worked through yet would be the play and the sport piece. So Jen and Charlie worked really hard on how that will be implemented. That was the second piece of the new quarantine language. And those are under our COVID dashboard. If you wanted to see the whole, the whole release from the Ohio Department of Health.
Can I ask you a question about the, if a child was exposed and then is eating lunch with other people, they're not then they're supposed to be masked for under the ODE guidance. If you're exposed, you can stay in school as long as you wear a mask until you have a negative test or a certain amount of time is expired. So how would they eat lunch?
No, they can take it off to eat
No, they
lunch.
can wear a mask, even.
Yeah.
Instead
like
of
means
being-
so then you probably really can't eat lunch with other people.
Well, that's what I
would
mean. You couldn't eat lunch in the vicinity of other people because you're supposed to be masked.
It would have to be 6 feet.
Okay.
those are some of the details that they're working through.
Well, I think we all respect that you have a really robust process for evaluating new information and, from my perspective, the fact that we're going into the holidays and college kids are coming home and I think that's another factor, to take into consideration. I also had heard, and maybe you can verify, have we had more in-school days than other districts in Northeast Ohio due to our successful masking policy?
So here's what I'll tell you. I don't know, except I heard it was posted on Facebook. So I don't know if it's true or not true. But I would like to tell you that we've done an outstanding job of keeping kids in school, whatever number that day is.
Right.
But I honestly couldn't tell you if it's true or not true. It wasn't any study that I participated in.
Okay. Good to know. Lots of things on Facebook that we need to double check with the experts.
And that's a good one, so we'll take it.
Yeah, right, but still,
Our kids are
right,
in
only if
school.
it's true, right?
And that's where I was told it was from, so I don't know what other source it's coming
Okay.
from. It could be.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think we have had certainly more than many private schools that, went virtual for an extended period of time when we were in classes. So it wouldn't surprise me if somebody ran the data that, we really were at the top of the schools in the Northeast Ohio area.
Yeah, I think some of the districts too have had to call days here and there, not necessarily due to outbreaks with students, but because they couldn't cover, because staff were out due to the
Right.
quarantines and
Right.
such, so.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look over the data, but it seems, at least just, from viewing it this last spring and now, that definitely, it seems like numbers are down. It seems like I get a lot fewer notifications than, during the same period or just during this last year. So it's all good. All right, moving on, consent. If I could have a motion for consent agenda item 7A through 7D.
So moved.
Thank you, Mary Kay. And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you very much, Lori. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Brudno, if you'd please call the roll.
Mr. Rankin,
Yes.
Mrs. Garvey,
Yes,
Mrs. Bendel,
Yes.
Mrs. Bros,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Toole.
Yes.
All right. There's one item.
yeah, there's a lot of policies.
Okay. Next, if I could have a motion for superintendent's recommendation 8A through 8A.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, come on, pick a policy, any one.
Yeah.
and we'll,
Let's say, holy cow.
So it's a first reading. I just want to applaud the policy committee. You guys have been doing some heavy lifting for sure, with a lot of the legal changes. This is unusual for us to have this many, to go through. So thank you for your work. I know that's a lot of extra time for both Mary Kay and Lori. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is a lot of
A lot of
policy.
vaping changes this time.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Language where it had been cigarettes or
Yeah.
tobacco, where they were pulling through the language about vaping and e-cigarettes.
Interesting. Any other highlights?
Just that House Bill, what was it, 180?
110 and
110, when it
244, yeah.
it was 2,000 pages of little tiny.
Yes,
changes.
Lori was going to read it. and-
Yeah, I started reading it, and Mary Kay told me there was a better way.
That is why we have a policy consultant.
Yes.
There will be a made-for-school movie at some point, right?
Exactly.
Okay, no other discussion. Ms. Brudno, if you'd please call the roll.
Mr. Rankin,
Yes.
Mrs. Garvey,
Yes.
Mrs. Bendel,
Yes.
Mrs. Bros,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Toole.
Yes.
All right. Your favorite part of the meeting and mine. If I could have a motion for treasurer's recommendations 9A
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Brudno, please enlighten us.
Okay, the only item on my agenda tonight is donations, and I would like you to remember that next meeting when I spend half an hour going through the 5-year forecast. I'm deferring my time to the next meeting. So all I have tonight is donations. We have some oral health items for the eighth grade service project from Dentistry at Winbury. We have toiletries for the eighth grade service project from Richard Gallagher. And more toiletries for the eighth grade service project from Trails for Hope organization. So I'm recommending your approval.
So I just want to say you do not have a time limit. We're
Remember
happy
that
to
next
hear
week.
from you and you're always very efficient. We appreciate it.
Okay.
But we appreciate the brevity.
Mr.
I didn't
Rankin
just wipe out
appreciates the bottom
everything you
line.
said. I was just adding to it. We just appreciate her efficiency.
We do. It's very respectful of our time.
Okay, Ms. Brudno, if you'd please call the roll.
Mr. Rankin,
Yes.
Mrs. Garvey,
Yes.
Mrs. Bendel.
Yes.
Mrs. Bros,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Toole.
Yes.
All right. Other business. Is there any other business? Gotta bring the kids back. It's much more exciting. Okay, well, our next meeting will be November 17th at 6 o'clock. And we're having it at Sands, our normal meeting room.
Or
I
the
think we've
high
been
school
doing the
library.
I think we're still at the high
Oh,
school
yeah.
library.
High school library. Okay. Fantastic. And if I could have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Lori. Ms. Brudno, you would
Mr.
please take the roll.
Mr. Rankin,
Yes.
Mrs. Garvey,
Yes.
Mrs. Bendel,
Yes.
Mrs. Bros. Yes. Mrs. O'Toole.
Yes.